Do you think that you are in a privileged position because in the world of the internet you have no haters?
I don't know if I have no haters, but this is
Why
the
do I
first time
remember
I'm
you
playing
wearing
a.
a naval? That was just in my dreams then.
That was in your dreams.
Thanks.
Uh,
What's happening with Awarapan too?
we're going to start shooting in probably a month or two.
We have to have you say Prahar Hoga.
Yeah, we have to have Prahar Hoga. In this form of a film, like where patriotism is concerned in a true story, he's not going to make it jingoistic. That's the only theatre there. Can you imagine? And they have great footfalls.
Then they haven't had a premiere in very
They've
long.
not had a premiere there since 40 years.
There was a person who said, "What is this? It's inaccurate. उसने दाढ़ी कैसे रखी है ये वो."
You know, that's something I need to address.
Just to fill me, just to fill me.
If you grew up in the 2000s, Emraan Hashmi was what you would call happening. And I think happening is a really cool word because I was in college then. And सबसे happening चीज़ हमारी ज़िंदगी में इमरान हाशमी की फिल्म हुआ करती थी. It's been 25 years since the turn of the millennium. And I'm sitting with a new Emraan Hashmi. Hi Imran, welcome to Just
Hi.
to Film Me.
Thank
and
you.
Have I said the right things? Let me ask you that first.
Yeah, completely. Please,
Yeah.
I love compliments. It's fine.
Okay, so happening, that's correct. Okay, and the second one is it's been 25 years and I'm sitting with a new Emraan Hashmi. This is my analysis of you over the last couple of times because the last time we met, we were meeting for Showtime, which I thought was also absolutely fun. I love that show and you know it. But I think that you're in a place where you're trying to do something very different. Can I start with that?
Yeah, please. Yeah, you
So
can.
are you?
That's the intent. I think if I were to do the same run-of-the-mill things, I wouldn't be that happening. I think you have to reinvent.
Yes.
There is, I wouldn't say it's a battle, but there is the whole idea of relevance that plays in. Audiences change every 10 to 14 years in theatres. The
Correct.
younger kids who were in college, who used to see your films in the 2000s, become dads and moms.
Yes,
And then
yes.
there's a younger audience that comes in, and you have to play by a different set of rules and reinvent yourself with fresher filmmakers, fresher stories, a fresher image, or rather not an image, just kind of experiment and do whatever, kind of be as versatile as you can. And that's what I think.
You're doing right now. I can see
Yeah,
that.
and thankfully I'm getting these filmmakers, producers, and stories to kind of play that out and support me with. So
Let's talk about some firsts with Ground Zero. That's the film we're talking about. It's in cinemas on the 25th of April. So I have lots of questions. A, is this your first time collaborating with Excel?
it is. It is the first
How
time.
are they as
with-
collaborators and what have they
Fantastic.
brought in to you as an actor?
I mean, I just going back to the beginning of this film and the first phone call by Farhan and Ritesh, where they narrated the script to me. It was a 10-minute narration on the phone. And they said that, are you in town? I was going to come back and I came to the office to hear the script. But when Excel calls you, when Farhan and Ritesh say that they're making a film, I generally listen to a script. I take 3-4 days to mull over it.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm going to do the film on that one phone call.
Yeah.
Because when it comes from Excel movies, you know that it's going to tick all the boxes. Presentation, the research
Yeah.
in the writing, the way you'll be presented, the way it'll be marketed, all that is going to tick all those boxes. So yeah, it was a no-brainer. So it comes with
I
all of that.
remember clearly at that point when Farhan, I think, debuted as an actor. And I think it was Rock On and it was your films at the same time.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I used to
yeah.
be on the radio
Yeah.
and we used to play Awarapan and Rock On ke gaane
Yeah.
during the same time.
Yeah.
What has that relationship been like? And has there been a friendship outside of producer-actor?
But I've always admired him. I remember seeing Dil Chahta Hai, and I was like, I mean, just him finding his voice from his first film. I've always admired him as a filmmaker, as an actor. I think what also came into play because Farhan was involved in this as a creative person is I realized that I knew that in this form of a film, like where patriotism is concerned in a true story, he's not going to make it jingoistic. And that's where our frequencies matched. And we're both Bandra boys.
I was going to say, you're both Bandra boys.
So,
and
yeah.
so there could have been familiarity.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully more collaborations with them because I really had a wonderful time working with both Farhan, Ritesh, the director also Tejas, everyone at Excel. Yeah.
Because I remember Laksh, the film that he'd made.
Yeah.
And that was something that really impacted us when we were growing up
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
My second question to you in terms of first is that is this the first time I'm seeing Emraan Hashmi in a uniform?
I mean, I've played a police.
Yeah.
I've donned a police uniform.
Yeah.
I've played an RTO officer. I've. This is
Why
the
do I
first time
remember
I'm
you
playing
wearing
a.
a naval? That was just in my dreams then.
That was in your dreams.
Thanks.
This is the first time I'm playing a BSF officer. This is the
Yes.
first film made about the border security force.
Yes.
Sometimes people get confused between the army and the border security force. So that is something that we need to kind of at least,
Do you want to tell us more? Because if people don't know,
the border security force is part of the central armed police force, and they man our borders. So 6,500 kilometers of our country's borders
Yeah.
are secured by the BSF, and very integral part was formed in 1965 to stop things like insurgency, terrorism across the borders. And this particular mission was something that this operation was spearheaded by Mr. Dubey, who was a BSF second in command officer. And it was an operation that went on for 2 years to bring down Jaish-e-Mohammed, which is a terrorist organization, and Ghazi Baba, who was was a bona fide offender. They wanted to get him hook by crook. Back then, he was doing a lot of bad stuff in our country, and a lot of like the parliament attack was planned by him.
yes.
It was pretty horrific times back then, the early 2000s.
Did you get a chance to meet Dubeji?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with him, a lot of phone conversations, a lot of questions from my end
Yeah.
to kind of get into the skin of the character. He was in Srinagar when we were shooting. At that time, he had joined the NIA. Now he's retired. But he came to Srinagar, and we had very, very long discussions about those 2 years of him as a second in command, his team, what he went through, what he had to face, what his families, all these officers' families went through. So it was pretty helpful to have the real life hero with me when I was playing this character.
And you were in Srinagar when you shot this film
Yeah.
extensively.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that we live in a country where we do not access all of its parts
Yeah.
for many reasons. I think that we are quick in taking a vacation to Europe, but we would think twice
Yeah.
before we go to Kashmir.
Yes.
And that's just, how the last 70 years have been. What was it like for you? And have you visited that part of the country before this film?
No, this is the first time I visited Kashmir for the shooting of Ground Zero. We went there now and had this epic historical. We had this moment
Screening.
of having a red carpet and screening in Srinagar. It's a place that's been dogged by this perception since the past few decades of being, because of its geopolitical tensions, insurgency, terrorist attacks, which, by the way, has come down drastically with operations like this.
Yes.
And in the past 15, 20 years, it's gone down quite a bit. But there is a perception that clouds people's minds, which is slowly kind of ebbing away. Like when you went there right now, 3 days ago, all the hotels are full because the tourist influx over there is like quadrupled since the past decade. And these are small steps towards bringing in some more normalcy into the place,
Yes.
like having a red carpet event. That's the only theater there. Can you imagine? And they have great footfalls.
But
I
it's
just
been
hope-
non-functional for a very long time.
No, this one is functional.
Okay,
It's an Inox,
Okay.
property, but one of the few only ones there.
Then they haven't had a premiere in very
They've
long.
not had a premiere there since 40 years.
Yes.
So this was for the officers, for the BSF, for Kashmiris, and they all had smiles on their faces because this is like they've seen such a turbulent past.
Correct.
I think we owe it to them, and we should have more film shoots there. And we had no hiccups while shooting our film in Srinagar. It was great.
How beautiful.
And even this, I hope more films release there, more theaters spring up there. We have more red carpet events. And it becomes again the cinematic and cultural destination
Yeah.
that it always was earlier before all these issues.
Yeah, Chand Sa Roshan Chehra.
Yeah.
That was shot in
Yeah, yeah.
Kashmir on the Dal Lake,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that is an integral part of our cinema's history as well.
Yeah.
I always wonder for an actor when you go into a film, of course, you played various sort of people. You played crooks, you played, people who were
gangsters.
gangsters, all of it. But when it comes to playing someone who's A, alive, and B, who has some sort of a zimmedari, right? How do you feel getting into that and getting out of it? Like, who are you during that phase? Are you different? How did this impact you? How did it leave you?
I think it's very important, very cognizant of the fact that you're, first of all, putting a film up there which represents our border security force. It takes that much more in this as far as research, hard work. You have to play in confines of that accuracy and the research. You're putting up someone's life there. It's there for posterity. Cinema is something that you once done, you can't undo it.
Yeah.
So you got to have extensive pre-production and prep while doing it. So just being aware of that, thankfully we had this as a support system. The BSF, Mr. Dubey, who was a phone call away, he came to Srinagar. And yeah, it's the same hard work that you put in all films, but it's just that you have to be a little more thorough when you're playing someone's life and putting it up there, because their families are going to watch this. They're going to go back to that era and the time when they had probably the most testing time in their lives for those 2 years when this operation was going on. So just being, and then the best part is when in the screening, when they come and tell you that this is, we almost was like going back to that moment which happened when they saw the screening. And they were very proud of the film and the way it was made. They were a little concerned about Bollywood coming and making a film, the border security force, that we don't make it very jingoistic, which we told them it's not our intent, and it's going to be dramatic, real, honest, with, of course, doses of a little bit of cinematic liberty
Come
here
on,
and there.
we have to have you say Prahar Hoga.
Yeah, we have to have Prahar Hoga. So that was granted, and we were like, we'll make an interesting film and something that's credible. So they saw that.
You have to talk to us about that scene. I know it's a bit too soon. I know the film's not released yet, but come on. Since the time the trailers dropped, I know the amount of people who've said, goosebumps, Prahar Hoga. Did you expect that line to be what it is today? Because if you don't know, let me bring it to you.
It was, I mean, it's a scene that gives you goosebumps when I said it, and my director threw me into the deep end by shooting that scene first. So I was hoping that it'll come probably at least midway into the scene when I got into Mr. Dubey's character.
Yeah.
But just there, he hurled me in front of a truck. First day of shoot, he said, get up there and start addressing your team.
Oh my God.
And there was a scene before that where I had to improvise and give them all orders, which was backed by music, but I had to make up my own lines.
Correct.
So it was like jumping into the deep end and starting off with the most, like, I would say, patriotic and charged up scene. But it was good fun. It was good fun. I think we all got into character, and then it was a smooth sailing ride after that.
You know, Emraan, I keep reading comments on the internet because I have a lot of time, clearly. Also, they're not talking about me. But I remember going through the comments under this trailer and people are goosebumps. Then I realized Emraan Hashmi ke bahut sare fans hain. I feel you have no haters, which is a very privileged position to be. There was a person who said, what is this? It's inaccurate. Usne daadi kaise rakhi hai, ye wo.
You know, that's something I need to address.
Oh.
So this is something that was a conversation that went on in the beginning of the film about the daadi. We were going to sport a mustache for this, but it was, we asked Mr. Dubey and we asked all the seniors, can the border security force keep a daadi? They said yes. So this is a misconception. I don't know where they pull this out of.
I know.
They have a perception that, okay, everyone dons mustache or clean-shaven looks. But again, first of all, there's the same person who probably was misconstruing the army and the BSF. So the BSF, you can sport a beard if you're part of
And
them.
you will not believe it. I was going to complete that story. Uski niche, the amount of people who come to your defense and said, this is BSF.
Yeah.
So this is not Indian Army.
Yeah.
You should know the difference. And that's when I realized that this is the question I wanted to ask you. Do you think that you are in a privileged position? Because in the world of the internet, you have no haters.
I don't know if I have no haters, but I've stopped reading so many comments.
In the past time,
I don't know. I don't know. It gets in your head sometimes.
It does?
Either you get too cocky about stuff,
Of course.
or is that one troll that kind of hits below the belt that spoils your day? I've somewhere down the line also got a little immune to it, in the sense that you need to be a little thick-skinned about this, right? But I'm like, it just cues your thought process in another direction.
I cannot tell you. Randomly, I remember a troll once got to me saying that, they commented on my car. And I was like, what? Like, why are you commenting on my
Just
car?
people who just have a lot of time.
And
who
I was like, since then, I have not liked my car. Because I was like, अगर उन्हें लगता है कि इससे बेहतर गाड़ी मेरी होनी चाहिए.
Don't take it so seriously.
But
I don't think that guy himself takes it seriously. I think he just has a lot of time to waste.
Yeah,
And
buddy, don't
we
do
call
this to
them
me.
keyboard warriors who've got
That's
nothing else
true.
in life but just
That's true.
Off and away to the races on the keyboard. That's the life.
There are a couple of things on the internet about you that people really are dying to know. So I'm going to bring them to you. Number one, what's happening with Awarapan 2?
We're going to start shooting in probably a month or two.
Correct?
We're done with the scripting, and now we start shooting, and we have a release next year, 3rd of April.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't say anything more. Fine. Okay. Zara. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the other film.
Yeah.
This is another film.
Tera Mera Rishta.
Tera Mera Rishta. Oh my God, I remember playing all of these songs, and that's why I think radio jockeys have such a beautiful relationship with you. Do you feel
I
the
mean,
love?
you for one would also know that the recall of the film, and this is going back to the successes cinematically of films on theaters, it probably didn't get that kind of love there.
Yeah, yeah.
But people now know the way it's exploded on the internet when it was launched. It's just garnered this cult following through the internet,
Absolutely.
satellite, torrents, YouTube. Everything has come together, and everyone has realized that film, which a lot of people gave it a miss in the cinema halls.
Yeah.
But success is cinema is not the only gauge for a
Correct,
success. And
correct.
this is testament to that.
Absolutely. Can't wait for that. The other one is, of course, this film is in the theaters. And I'm sure everyone who is a journalist worth their salt has asked you, what do you think about the time in the theaters we are in right now?
Oh,
Have you figured it out? Or do you have anything to offer me as...
about how our state of the theaters?
Yeah, like, you know, your film's in the theaters now. When your film used to release in the 2000s, you used to have these amazing songs. And honestly, I think you had your own audience. Is it the same today, or are you also waiting to see? Because this has been a while before we're seeing you in the theaters, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was like an ensemble. I did the Tiger release last year.
Yeah.
But this is a film which is, I guess, you know, it's coming out at a time when people, I think, need a film that's more rooted in our culture and in a story that people would probably relate to.
Yeah.
We have the cinematic business that's not doing too well since the past 4-5 years, as
Yeah.
we've seen. There are these, like they say, the odds are stacked against because OTT and all these things. But I feel when the film is truthful, when you have something new to tell, when you have a rooted story like Ground Zero, hopefully it has its takers, fingers crossed. So yeah, we're just hopeful. I mean, see, at the end of the day, in this terrain and climate, this is how I see things. You put in your best efforts into making a film, into every aspect of giving that film the due it deserves. Friday, it's not your film anymore.
Yeah.
So there's no point sweating over it. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We've made a film that we believe in, and the audience hopefully sees that, and we'll see what we see on Friday.
Talk to me about a time when a film surprised you by doing well and a film surprised you by not doing well.
Not doing well would be films like, I think, Ghanchakkar, Raja Natwar Lal, Awarapan also. Felt that it should have got more love in theatres. Well, surprised by doing well,
Like, I remember Jannat was a sleeper hit.
I guess that time it was a different time. I think there was more scope for these films in cinema to kind of fly and soar. So I don't think there was any film I felt that, okay, it's not going to do well and it did well. I think I believed in those films, and that's why they also did well at the box office, and the audience saw merit in it also. The challenging part is when films were great, and then for some reason, I don't know why people don't give it the kind of love or miss that kind of expanse of the audience coming in. That was a bit of a shocker.
From your filmography at this point, if you'd like to introduce my audience to an Emraan Hashmi film that they might have missed, that
Awarapan.
you truly loved.
Awarapan.
Yeah.
I think Awarapan is a film that is not available on YouTube or OTT, but we're going to release it in theaters soon. And Awarapan is obviously going to happen next year. So we'll see. We'll see when we plan out the re-release of the first part. But yeah, that's one film, yeah.
That's amazing. Before we leave, I want to ask you what Ground Zero has left you with.
I think more admiration for our officers, for the border security force, for their resilience, for their sacrifices, for what they do for our country, and how this also goes unnoticed sometimes by the common folk. This operation, this encounter, which in a way affected all our lives,
Correct.
directly or indirectly, that we still don't know about. And our audience is part of the audience that also knows nothing about this operation, should know about. It left me deeply affected when I played this character through
Correct.
the entire arc of it. It's quite a story and a tale that's waiting to be told.
That's amazing. I think as privileged Bombay people, often movies do that for us. I remember Rang De Basanti totally changing my opinion about my place in my country. And I looked at my country very differently.
Yeah.
And if that can, be done with Ground Zero, I think that'll be amazing because these are the films that kind of change something in us.
Sure.
And I'd like to believe that that's what you intended to do.
Sure.
It's always a pleasure chatting, Imran, and I do
Thank
hope
you.
that I see you soon. Thank you so much for spending time
Thank
with
you.
us today.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Just to fill me, just to fill